Hello and welcome to day 29. Peter is showering. He is tired, so he has not decided to join me today. Why is he tired? Well, what happened today? Let me tell you. So we were going to register the trademark for our clothing brand. And then along with the trademarks, originally we got the quote for just the word. So when you register the word, you can essentially use the word anymore. And sorry, my dog is got the zoomies. She's a bit crazy at the moment. So if you hear random noises, she's just running around throwing her toy, fetching it. Usually I have to throw the toy, but today she's throwing the toy herself, fetching it, and then throwing it again. So that's what's happening if you can hear the noises, which is very distracting. So back to the trademark thing. So if we were going to register just a word, and the word is quite a general protection, because if anyone wants to use that similar word or even use the word in different font and stuff, it protects against that kind of thing. In addition to that, we wanted to register 2 logo marks. So we originally got the quote for just the word trademark, and I think that was about $400 US. And then we wanted to register the 2 other logo marks. So we asked the lawyer that we'd originally got the quote for, can you please register these 2 other logo marks for us at the same time? So essentially it's like 3 documents that you file. And you would think it wouldn't cost triple the price, because it's like, ask the same people filing. If you're filing for 3 different people, then sure, I understand. But essentially you're copying and pasting the same stuff. And the filing fee, I think, is only about $40 or something. The rest is the lawyer work. So then the price came back this morning, and Peter knew it was expensive. He's like, it's $1,400 or something. It was like essentially triple the price, maybe a bit less. I can't remember. There was some additional random fees, but he's like, it's $1,400 US for the 3s. Do you want to go ahead with it? And he knew it was too expensive. That's why he came and asked me, and I was like, no, baby, that's like way too expensive. We should definitely push back with them. And asked them, like, why is it so expensive? It's the same company, same documentation generally. I'm sure there's a bit of difference, but it shouldn't be triple the price, maybe double the price at most. And I think Peter, what we learned about Peter today, and I chatted to him over lunch, he's like, oh, I don't like asking people for things. So usually when people suggest something like the price for how much the trademark registration is going to cost, he would just pay it. If I wasn't around. But at the same time, he recognizes that we can't just pay all these things. Otherwise, if we always pay people whatever they ask, it's not reasonable, because sometimes people are charging way too much. Even there was a builder we had in recently, and he was like, oh, there was still some issues, so I asked him to call the builder back. Again, he's the one who speaks more Vietnamese, so he's the one who generally has to liaise and speak with them. But he was like, oh, I'd honestly rather just let the issues remain, and I call in someone else to fix the issues that the other person caused. So Peter is, I think, more rejection sensitive than me, in the sense that he does not like to ask anyone for anything, including me. Remember, guys, if some of you had listened to the previous days, I'm going to call this a podcast now. I guess it's more like a podcast because I just sit here. If you listen to the podcast the other day, Peter, if he wants me to do something, he'll be like, should we take out the rubbish? In which case he means like, Techie, can you please take out the rubbish? Which I just learned. So I'm realizing how much he hates to ask anyone for anything. And he's like, I'm like, what did I say to him? I asked him, but we're paying them for their service. Don't you feel like that is an exchange for the effort that they're doing something for you? You're not just asking them to do something for free. And his response was, it doesn't matter if I'm paying them. So that like changed my perspective completely, because originally I thought he doesn't like pushing back with negotiations because he's asking the other side for more, which I understand. Some people are uncomfortable doing that. But actually what he told me was, it doesn't matter whether it's paid or even unpaid. He's asking me to do something for him. Any situation where he has to ask someone else for anything, he feels extremely uncomfortable. So yeah, I think, again, he had to go back to the lawyer. In the end, I asked some friends to recommend some lawyers, and I reached out to a few others, and the price that we just realized that the original quote we got, even though we had a few other quotes, that quote was still expensive. So I think we are now trying to find some cheaper options, and hopefully the price will not be that much. But that's why Peter is very tired today, because when he has to go and engage with people, he's not even engaging with them directly. It's over chat, but I can see when he does it, he feels anxiety even having to send the message. So that's a little bit about Peter. Apart from that, that's one side of Peter. The other side of Peter is he is really, really sweet. So since we've been in Vietnam for like the last 2 months, again, if anyone listens to the past podcast, I'm repeating because I know a lot of you are not listening to every episode. So Peter and I moved from Australia to Vietnam because we want to have the freedom to travel more frequently, because it's just, Asia is so much closer to everything. It's like a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour flight. Australia's 8 hours. So we haven't traveled for the last month at all. We've just stayed here working. And what that means is we've continually eaten Vietnamese food again and again and again. So today Peter ordered me some Chinese food because he was like, I think you miss Chinese food. You haven't had it in a while. So let's try this place. I didn't know he ordered it. It just arrived and I was so surprised. This is the first time I felt nostalgia eating food. It's never happened to me before. I said to Peter, I feel like I could cry because it is bringing back emotions from food that I used to have when I lived in Australia. We lived in a very Asian area, and that area had this type of food. It's a lot of Chinese food. But since moving, like, my background is not like Chinese. It's like Malaysian Chinese. So it's not even the type of food that I eat regularly at home. It's just that I had that type of food when I was growing up because it's the area that we lived in. And I've never had such a strong feeling of nostalgia that I was going to cry eating it. So Peter does sweet things like that. It's my point. And that's why I love him so much. He's actually an extremely, extremely sweet boy. He'll always, if he knows I like something, he will give me the last piece of food and he will refuse to eat it, which is sometimes frustrating because at the start, we always used to fight over who gets the last piece in terms of trying to give each other the last piece. But at some point, I realized it makes him happy to give me the last piece, even though he sits there quietly and he's just like, no, I'm done. I'm not eating it. And then I'll eat it. And I know he's happy inside. And I'm just like, I have to accept the love that he's giving me rather than fight him all the time to try and give him the last piece. A very random question that I have, which came from at the gym this morning. I saw a guy wearing a t-shirt. It's obviously like a sports tank that's been given by a team, and the team says F1 Racing. And legitimate question. What is the deal with F1 Racing? I don't understand. Again, this is not to say F1 Racing is bad. Different people have different interests, which is fine. Like, I don't know. I can watch a drag show. I don't really find that particularly interesting. Oh, I like musicals. So some people might be like, what's the deal with musicals? And I could explain to them why I like musicals. But is anyone interested in F1 Racing? Can someone please explain F1 Racing to me? Because for me, F1 Racing, it feels very repetitive. It's cars going around in a circle on a track. It doesn't seem like it's that exciting. Oh, I've asked this question before to an old colleague, and I think they said something about there's technique to it, there's strategy, there's decision making. But for me, all I see is the car going around again and again. We used to live near an F1 track when it happened, and it's just really darn noisy, and that's all you can hear. Hi guys, every day is the same thing. The dogs next door bark and Chai barks, so I have to bring her up. So if anyone can explain to me why F1 racing is a thing, maybe it is like the innovation in how fast the cars can go, because I think cars are one of humanity's greatest achievements. That would make sense to me. And is that why people like it? But then again, there's like a lot of type of sports that I do not enjoy. So I don't understand what the big deal is about something like this. And I saw an Instagram reel today. It said, being hated by losers is the price you pay for not being one. And I've seen a similar one that says being hated by idiots is the price you pay for not being one. And where this comes from, I think, is a lot of people, when they get hated on by other people, there are hate comments, they feel sad and affected by it. So why I like this, it kind of shifts the perspective on what it means to be hated. Why are you being hated? Oh, the reality is people usually hate because they don't understand where you're coming from. So I think it is a bit aggressive because I didn't think it breaks down the concept far enough. It just says, if you don't want to be it's like fighting negative with negative. in the sense that if you don't want to be a loser, you're going to be hated by losers. But I think I'm going to use the word sophisticated explanation. I don't know if that's the right word. A more sophisticated explanation is that you will be hated by people who don't necessarily understand why you're doing or why you're posting, why you're saying what you're saying. And that's okay because they just have a different perspective and they're missing information that you have. An easier way to think about it maybe is if that person had the exact same set of information that you have, an exact same perspective, would they be hating on you? Probably not, because they'd be understanding why you're doing something. And that's me sharing my 2 cents. And on that note, sharing my 2 cents, this is such a random English phrase. I don't even know where I learnt it from, but I was thinking about this phrase today, and why is it 2 cents? Is it because 2 cents seems like a very little amount? So you're just giving, here's a little bit of advice, rather than I'm sharing my dollar, it's sharing my 2 cents, which is a very little piece of advice. And it's like, if you want to take it, great, but it's not really worth much. So I'm just sharing my 2 cents. That's probably why 2 cents is not worth very much. So when you say sharing my 2 cents, it's the point that it's conveying is I'm sharing my opinion, but don't take it too seriously. And this is this whole podcast. I'm constantly sharing my 2 cents. This is going to be a very random podcast today, so I'm going to read out some random comments, but I also want to respond to some that I've taken notes on that I have forgotten to respond to. So one of them is from Blair, who says, I watch your content on 2.3x speed, and that is extremely fast. Usually I watch most stuff on ×2 speed. So Peter watches stuff on ×3 speed, and I really think that if you slowly increase, when I first started doing this, I couldn't watch stuff on ×2, it was just too fast. But if you gradually increase the speed, it's like training your auditory processing muscle something. I'm making this up, but essentially you listen to the words and your brain can process them faster, and it learns to listen to people speak faster and faster. It's like learning a new language, but you're just learning the new language faster. So Peter has an extension that he downloaded from somewhere which works on certain internet browsers, but he can go up to like ×4 speed. But what he really does is just do ×3 speed. Once you train your brain to listen to stuff at a higher rate, like ×2 speed, I really feel that you can't go back to ×1 speed. Otherwise, everything just seems too slow. So in many ways, maybe I'm making my ADHD worse by doing it, but it also feels like an extreme lot of suffering to just listen to it at ×1 speed. Suel says, I love your contradictory nature, Techie. Sometimes you're very childish, sometimes silly, sometimes very profound. But most of all, I love the way you show your love for Peter. Thank you, Suel. Why am I childish? I think that as people get older, we're called adults, and there's a certain way that we perceive what adults should act like and behave like. And in many ways, I feel that the joy of living when you are younger and how you discover new things starts to fade. Oh, look who it is!
Wanted to say one thing. The people who are blind watch things on times like 5 speed. Is it?
Yeah, you can have your own microphone. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all about, I don't know what it's all about, but you can train it. There is I'm trying to think, is it Braille? No. There's an app or some sort of training mechanism where you can train yourself to read at an extremely fast pace.
He reads very, very fast.
I'm a speed reader.
But sometimes I don't think he actually grasps the concept fully, that he reads so fast.
I do grasp it fully.
No, you don't. So there's a document he needs to read. I'm going to get you to read it, and I'm going to quiz you afterwards and see how much you actually process.
Let's do it. Let's play a game.
All right, we will do that later.
I also have that board game over there, Poetry for Neanderthals. I want to play that with you.
So last weekend
we played board game.
We played a board game
for the first time
because Peter was just scrolling on his phone, and I wanted to spend time with him, and he's like, we have nothing to do to spend time together. And I told you guys last time I love to play computer games with him, but I'm not allowed to play computer games anymore because he banned me. So Now we play board games, and then
You get
he
addicted.
unexpectedly bought another board game, which we can play tomorrow.
It's supposed to be, it's a poetry for Neanderthals. So it's basically taboo. If you have play taboo, you get a word, for instance, campfire. And how poetry for Neanderthal works is you need to describe the word, but you can't say the word, and you can't describe it using words that are more than one syllable. So for campfire, you would say things like
Hot.
stick, hot,
Burn.
eat,
Yum.
I can't even do it. I don't even know what to say. Woods, fire, food.
Okay, that sounds like a really fun game. I can't wait to play that tomorrow.
And then they give you a big stick. So if you say something that's more than one syllable, you
Is it
get
a
whacked
inflatable
with a
stick? Yeah,
stick.
you whack them.
You've probably seen that on
That sounds
social
really
media.
fun. Why do you think I'm so childish? I was
I
saying
think it's the
big adulthood is really freaking boring, and it can get way too serious way too fast. So why not have a bit of fun and keep life fresh and joyful and just do crazy things? Sorry, you were going to say.
I think they meant childish in a positive way,
Yes,
but you
yes.
interpret it as
No,
a
no,
negative way. Oh,
I interpret it positively.
Oh, okay.
Like childish in like a youthful, fun, spirited way.
yes. Not old and jaded. The opposite of old and jaded.
Yeah, I
me.
think I perceive when someone calls me childish, I don't never take it negatively. It's like you have youthful energy is what they're trying to convey, is how I interpret it. So if like you're old, I feel like that's offensive to me because it means I've become jaded about the world. And I don't want to be old and jaded. I always want to be young and open-minded.
Or you have no energy like me.
Yes. Morel says, these are all on the same vlogs, guys, which is number 26. So I have no idea what I did to attract these comments, but Morel says, I love watching you and listening to your views on things. You have a true innocence.
I was
How
on 26.
do you think and express yourself? No, you were not.
Okay, I wasn't. I believe you.
Peter does balance me very well. I agree. See, I don't know why this episode has a lot of very nice comments. Bruno
What did you talk about
says,
during number 26?
listening to tech is better than a therapy session. I cannot remember.
Clean water. You found this drink bottle. It is do you know how big this is?
1.2 liter.
Are you sure? It looks like it is a 1.2 liter drink bottle. So 2 of these is our daily drinking water for the day. Each. Remember to drink at least 2 liters each, people.
Oh, I have one problem with drinking so much water. You have to pee a lot, and then I just feel like I'm going to the toilet a lot, and I'm not sure whether it's like I have a small bladder, I have a bladder problem, or is it because I drink way too much water? Because in the morning I drink like 1 liter already, or like
At
1.5 at gym, and then here I'm drinking another liter throughout the day. So it's like 2.5. I'm probably drinking 2.5 to 3 liters. I'm wondering if I'm drinking too much water. But at gym, I feel like I'm thirsty and I'm sweating, so I'm losing. So I think probably for my activity level, I'm probably not. That's going to be my answer. Because I move so much, I have to stay hydrated. Hydration is good for your skin, guys.
I think there is a point where you can drink too much water, but I don't think we are at it, or we are even close to it.
Kay Lau Dell says, they have an aversion to food. Oysters and mushrooms. Oysters are basically snot and mushrooms are fungus. But the question is, have you ever had any experiences where you still force yourself to try things that you perceive as something you don't like? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it. To me, it's a challenge.
Peter and I agree that a big part of life is trying new things. And when you stop having new experiences, then I feel like your life isn't as exciting. Your brain is, you don't disrupt your brain patterns anymore. So like, I'm not sure if anyone else has this feeling, but when I was a kid growing up, it felt like time, 1 year, was a really long period. And now 1 year, I think since I reached about 18, every year just seems to go faster and faster and faster. So I realized, and I think Peter agrees, a way to slow that down is to have new experiences, which includes trying new foods, going new places, trying new activities. And when you try new things, it disrupts your brain's, I want to say circadian rhythm, but that's not the right word. Your brain's expected processing nature or something. You guys get what I mean. You guys are smart people.
I was going to say the exact same thing. What I was going to say was the reason why some people think time passes too fast, because you know how sometimes you're like, wow, that day passed really quickly, or that day passed really slowly. Usually it's not usually, but one theory is that it depends on the memories that you've made. So for instance, if each day you're doing a routine, you do the exact same thing, what you're going to feel at the end of the week is that you don't remember anything from your week, because every single day was literally the same as the previous. You're doing a chore, you go here, you do the exact same things, and you're not creating new memories. And sometimes, and when life does get slower, it's because you're creating new memories in your brain. Does it make sense?
Yes, it
It's
does.
basically saying what you said, except when you do things repetitively, your brain saves space by putting it at the back of your mind, forgetting about it.
What I was going to say is I feel like recently when I've gone on a holiday and we're doing new things, the holiday feels really long. Like 3 days can feel like it's almost a week. And that's a good thing because I'm on holidays and I'm having fun. Next thing that someone says, Claire says, I thought that the ADHD part has a problem with clothes tags. Why not print the info straight onto the fabric in one place where tags usually go on the back of the collar? We can, that is an option, but sometimes depending on the print, I can still feel it. And it's just irritating.
Oh, yes, agreed. I can feel it as well.
And then it starts to peel off after a while. Another thing is Peter and I have a lot of similar clothing. So one thing, he's actually one size bigger than me. So we kind of like the tag so I can tell what size my one is. So we've come up with this really, really cool system and I'm really proud of this. The tag, the clothing tag, size tag, we're going to stick sometimes on the outside, sometimes somewhere else that's not here because this is the most annoying place for it. And it's going to be like prettier. It's not just going to say size S. It's going to be like a design element, which is really cool. It was an original idea. I don't know how to explain this to you guys. Actually, I do. So what we have done is rather than just putting the like letters of S, M, L on clothing, we've come up with a phrase, and that phrase has the letters S, M, and L in it, and we'll circle the letter. One will circle like an S, an M, and an L, and that is what will determine what the size is. But then if someone reads it, it's just a cool quote. So from our perspective internally, when we are picking sizes for the customer, it's easy for us to recognize, but at the same time, the customer doesn't really know. Unless they look really carefully, they'll just think it is a cool design element of the clothing. Does that make sense or not?
Well, you haven't explained it to them properly, but yes, I know because I've been listening to it all
Can you
day when you came up with
explain
the idea.
Better for me.
What is a word that has all three letters?
S, M, and L. Small.
So imagine the word small. If you're wearing your shirt has small, the letters, the word small on it. If it's a small, it will be an S with a circle around it, mall. If it's a medium, it will be S, normal, and then M with the circle around it to show that it's a medium, all. If it's large, then one L. If it's a extra large, I don't know, two L's.
Something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that.
But now that we've gone back to the drawing board with all the design elements, since we had to do the name change, I feel like everything's coming back together again. Because the concept, based on the name that we chose previously, we had such a clear concept, but it changed so much after we changed the name, because the name's obviously not the same. So we had to go back and do the work we didn't want to do, but we're better for it.
Oh, about the food, aversion to food. Afrid? Afid. No, we do not have afid. But for me, I like to, I don't know what it is. It's kind of half torturing myself. So for instance, natto, I slightly don't like it, but I will try and force myself to eat it every now and then just to get my taste buds used to the flavor, because I do think that even though I don't like it now, if I eat it enough and get my taste buds used to the flavor, I will enjoy it. I don't know why I do that. I think it is because I enjoy having the ability to eat a wide range of foods. I think I like that and being more flexible with my palate, because I did it with tomatoes, with mushrooms when I was younger. I'd never liked them. Vegetables as well, especially vegetables, because vegetables, when you eat them, they're bitter. So as a kid, it's relatively normal to not like vegetables because they're bitter. But eventually, once your taste buds are used to the bitterness, it becomes pleasant and enjoyable, and it adds another dimension to food, which is why I like to challenge myself with new foods.
Someone asks, just Monique asks, of the countries you have visited, which are the most LGBT friendly? As a lesbian, I would like to travel and meet more people from the community to socialize. Well, without a doubt, that title has to go to Thailand. I think Thailand is one of the most LGBT friendly places in the world.
I think for gays, but for lesbians?
I feel like it's the same.
Is it? I don't know about any lesbian bars in... So Bangkok, because we're gay, we know where the gay districts are, the gay bars, the gay clubs, all of the gay establishments. But and I'm sure there's lesbian establishments as well, but I don't think they're as prominent for whatever reason.
Is Australia pretty lesbian friendly? I would say so as well.
Yeah. I think Australia would be more lesbian friendly than expected.
Okay, and then now to my final question. Why do people expect relationships to be a certain way? I asked him this question this morning and he told me to save it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Why do people expect relationships to be a certain way and to look a certain way? Where do you think this comes from? And why? And I think it comes from how they're raised, but why are they not more open-minded about it? This was like a conversation we've had before. We're going to reach some conclusion that we've previously reached. Why do people, for example, when it comes to our quad relationship, why are people not in agreement with it? Why do they look at a relationship and say, oh, it has to be between a man and a woman or between only two people? What drives that, do you think?
Because that's all they know? I don't understand the question.
Maybe it isn't a good question.
I don't understand why you wanted to save this question. Was there any particular insight you wanted to talk about?
No, just curious about what you thought, and maybe you could help me unravel my mystery.
You have to give me more than that. To me,
So
it's just
I am confused.
It's how they're taught.
But why do they have to... Why is the feeling inside them when they see something that doesn't match the relationship type that they expect? Why is the feeling like, oh, that's weird? Rather than like, oh, it's not that's weird. Often it's that's weird and that's wrong. Why isn't it that's weird, but it's different? It's just another way. So why is
So
the
if we
feeling one
expand this to... So this is just when you see something that you're not accustomed to, you feel weirded out by it, right?
Yes,
Just in general.
yes, correct.
For instance, this can happen. This usually happens with culture shock, because it's exactly what culture shock is. You go to another culture, they do things in a different way, and that shocks you. You're disgusted by it. You're almost offended by it, because to you, if they did that in your culture, that would be offensive. So an example is that, not to be racist, but just culturally, what I've seen on Instagram, how Indians treat nature, most of the Indian population, or a big chunk of it, treat nature as in it's their, how can I describe it, own backyard. And a very strict comparison would be Japan, where they follow rules. They bring the trash home with them. They literally don't even have trash cans barely have trash cans in Japan. They bring it home. Whereas India, more than happy to chuck on the side of the street.
Hey, that's not just India, that's here as well. I literally saw someone on a motorbike yeet their finished cup into the river. Comparatively, and that's coming from me, I guess, who has been raised in Australia, which is like, put your rubbish in the bin, reduce, reuse, recycle. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, he just yeeted it into the river. So why is I get the reaction, it's different, but why does that lead to a negative reaction where you're like, that is wrong?
Because you're taught that it's wrong your whole life, right?
Okay.
You're taught to live a certain way because that's how you live in that way in your society. So when you see people not living that way, even if it's in another society, it initially shocks you until you realize, oh, wait, I'm in a different country. This is how they do things.
So my follow-up question is, do you think that they are taught a certain way specifically And is that different to not being taught, but things just happen to be that way? Like people might never tell you a relationship is only between a man and a woman, and any other relationship is wrong. That's option A. Option B might just be you just always see it's a man and a woman in relationships. Then do you think you grow up and think every other relationship type is wrong? Or do you think you only grow up thinking every other relationship type is wrong when you've been explicitly taught?
So you're saying, is it nature or nurture, right?
I guess.
I think
with this discussion.
That's your question. Like, but I think the biggest or the most obvious answer to this is when you take kids and it's the first time that they're experiencing or seeing a gay couple, they will not have any comment because they literally do not have an opinion on it.
Interesting. True.
If they have not been taught one way or another, to them, it just passes. There's nothing of note. This is just normal.
That's so true. I've also seen this with racism. Like, not specifically racism, but I have a few like cousins, nephews who were very young, and then my auntie has a foster child who is dark skinned, and when they go up to him, there's no racism. It's just curiosity. Like, why is your skin that color? Does that make sense? They are never scared or anything. It is literally pure curiosity because they have not been taught that, oh, someone with that skin color is dangerous or anything. And vice versa. The other kid, the foster kid that my auntie takes care of, he has obviously grown up around people of diverse skin shades. So he just thinks everything's normal. It is nurture that teaches us to fear things rather than nature. And why would we teach people to fear things?
Well, if you think it's wrong, then right.
And who teaches you it's wrong? Where does the feeling of wrongness come from?
Who taught you? Whoever taught you.
I think what I'm trying to get at is the point that you're trying to make is it has to be taught by someone to fear the thing, is your answer, correct?
Yeah, or you've experienced a bad experience with it.
But where does... That means it's generationally passed down to fear something. So for, let's say, a gay relationship, where does the fear come from? That doesn't make sense to me. If it's passed down, it has to originate from somewhere, from generation to generation. Somewhere along the point, someone had to decide that a gay relationship was dangerous or bad.
Yeah. Why?
And for what reason? What reason do you think they have?
It could be any reason. I think the biggest reason actually was, I think this was in England around when Christianity was big in England, or bigger in England. They decided that gay relationships were bad because they wanted a population boom. They wanted to control the population. They wanted the population to be more. So they banned and demonized gay people and homosexuality because in their eyes, it's politics. In their eyes, they wanted more babies. And guess who doesn't have babies? Gay people.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure that's one of the theories, or I can't remember if it's proven or if it was one of the theories that homosexuality was randomly decided one day to be demonized and weaponized I don't know when.
People like to weaponize a lot of things.
For instance, it's the exact same as India. India was amazingly acceptant of all kinds of sexuality until Christianity came in and then decided for them. And now India is more homophobic.
The interesting part is we talk about Christianity and religion. I had this thought the other day. One time, or we know of stories through studying in school, law school, where churches scam people of money and end up being lawsuits and things like that. The interesting part for me is that I've realized that religion is never the problem. People are the problem, and people weaponize religion, which gives religion a bad name. So I think many people are afraid of are they Mormons who come knock on the door? But the religion itself is not the issue. It's the people who have now taken the religion and turned it into something. And this is not specific about like Mormonism or whatever, but generally I think when religions get a bad rep, it is never about the religion. Does that make sense? People usually, I don't know, for example, the scam example where they make you fall in love with the religion and then they extort money from you. That is the human nature of greed, using a tool, which is religion, to extort money from someone. Anyway, guys, I'm probably going to cut out most of this podcast because Peter talked for too long. So, yeah, that's the end of today. Bye!